Hello everyone. Recently, I stumbled across someone selling this Vivitar 4K dual screen action camera for a pretty good price. It was $750, however the caveat was that it didn't come with a battery. So I've taken a look at many action cameras at this point. That's not a brag, by the way. If you've watched any of the reviews, you'd know that most of them are not really worth buying. So I figured, there's no way I don't have the battery for this camera. And it turns out I figured wrong, because yeah, I don't have the battery for this camera. Now, I'm not sure how well this is known, but for some cameras, you can just plug them into power, even without a battery, and you can still turn them on. And when I did so, I heard that chime again. Now, this is from personal experience, but every time I've heard that chime on a camera, the camera has been disappointing to mediocre at best. At that point, I already knew there's like a 90% chance that I'm not gonna like this thing anyway. And I was like, screw it, I'm not gonna buy a battery. Now, because of that, I'm not getting the full experience, so I can't really do a full review on this camera. Alright, basic tutorial. There's a power/Wi-Fi button on the left, shutter button on the right, and on the side here, there is another Wi-Fi button. Alright, so menu navigation is just tapping the power button. You can switch between your modes. Now select the shutter, and your only navigation button is the down button. Now just going through the settings real quick. You'll notice that there is no video stabilization. So after seeing that, I'm like 100% sure that this camera it's not up to my standard. There's no way I would ever recommend this. So at that point, yeah, I've like fully checked out. I've recorded a few sample clips, and yeah, I'm not really gonna progress any further with this. So, starting off with some 1080-60, and you can see that the resolution just isn't that great. It's pretty grainy looking. Now, moving forward, this is why I'm a huge stickler on any type of video stabilization. It just looks horrible. You can see that the dynamic range here isn't that great. The sky is supposed to be blue. This was a sunny day. It was not overcast when I recorded this. Here I am holding it out of a car window, and again, just look at how shaky this is. I'm pretty sure most decent cell phones can record a better video than this. So why in the world would I need a dedicated camera to produce such mediocre video? Moving on to 4K 30, it suffers from the same problem as the Brave 4. On a standstill, the detail actually isn't too bad. However, if you subject it to any type of action, as if, I don't know, it's an action camera or something, the video just looks terrible. In addition, the bitrate isn't too great either. Now I know YouTube loves to compress stuff, so here's a still frame from a very shaky video, and just look at how blocky that is. My goodness. Last up is a head-to-head comparison between this and the Akaso V50. Up first is 1080-60. Other than having warmer and more saturated colors, the Akaso beats this out on pretty much everything else. Here is the 4K comparison. So yeah, obviously I don't recommend this. Now, I've gotten plenty of comments like, oh, why am I so mean to these budget action cameras? What am I expecting for the price? And the biggest problem I have is that right there, the 4K. Like, sure, it's technically outputting a 4K image, but if we're being honest, the native resolution isn't 4K, and the output is just upscaled to show up as a 4K video. If it can't do 4K, just don't bother advertising 4K. The same thing is true with 1080-60. If you can't natively record 1080p 60 FPS, don't advertise it as a feature. The other issue I have with these cameras is that they don't have any video stabilization. Now, that was fine like 10 years ago when you could argue the technology wasn't there yet. But at this point, what is the excuse? There really isn't any reason why you shouldn't have some type of video stabilization on your camera. And it's an action camera, so obviously it's going to go through shakes and stuff. If your camera can't even record walking decently, it's an automatic fail, in my opinion. You might disagree. Feel free to leave a comment on, I don't know, explaining your position.